Now we have our next presenter, Carolyn Sweeney. Carolyn is a graduate student majoring in Interactive Multimedia of Arts in the School of Visual and Performing Arts at LIU Post. Carolyn is very passionate about educational technology. She strongly believes that a shift must be made toward the individualized learning and stay away from standardized testing. In this talk, Carolyn will share her dreams of starting her own company called Interactive Multimedia Books and Lessons, or IMBL. IMBL will bring engaging books and lessons to the classroom or at home to promote this learning. IMBL will provide interactive real-time reinforcement through multimedia books. It will also create an educational community where students will be able to share their ideas with other students around the world and get not only teacher-to-teacher student interaction, but also peer-to-peer interactions. There you go.
Thank you very much. My name is Carolyn Sweeney and my company is Interactive Multimedia Books and Lessons. And what I would like to do is take you through a past, present, and future of my company. And so I would like to begin with the past, how IBML actually came to be. And so I would like to start with a story called The Teacher. Once upon a time, in a far-off land called Massac Beach, worked a young teacher. She always knew she wanted to become a teacher. As a child, at the end of the school year, her mother would let her go to school with her and watch her teach. Her mother loved children's literature and tried to incorporate it in almost every discipline of teaching. The students loved hearing the animated stories and watching them come to life with her smart board lessons. As the years passed and state standards changed, the young teacher was finding it more difficult to bring creativity and enthusiasm into the classroom. She remembered the days she would visit her mother's classroom of animated engaged learners and longed to teach that way one day. Frustrated, she began to lose her passion for the profession she once dreamed about. She felt lost in the pressures of administration and state standards. Until one day, during a geometry lesson, she was using block manipulatives to explain to her students how a cone has one vertex without any edges. There, her storytelling began. The classroom was filled with excitement, and imaginations ran wild as she spoke about a far-off kingdom where geometric solids lived. In that magical land lived a king cone who made an exception to the geometric law and declared all cones have a vertex, even though they have no edges. As she told her stories and saw the learning was happening, she began to regain her passion and love for teaching. She continues to teach to this day with a vision of making all of her stories come to life for students all over America. And I am that teacher, and that's exactly how IBML came to be in my second grade classroom when I became frustrated with the state standards and trying to follow the curriculum that was too difficult for my students to understand. Some of the critical issues that I found in education are reduced engagement. Students are being taught to the test. Teachers are being told exactly what to say through Common Core modules, and as a result, students are just going through the daily activities of life in the classroom and not actually enjoying learning. For teachers, chaotic resources. As a teacher myself, I would find that a teaching job is not just 8 to 5 in the afternoon. You spend hours at home and on the weekends trying to find supplemental resources to use in the classroom to help reinforce what the students need to learn. And minimal growth. As a result of this system today, teaching to the test and also the chaotic resources, you're finding that students are having minimal growth in the classroom. IBML, I believe, is the solution to these problems. IBML creates engaged learning through multimedia books. For an example, The Teacher. For teachers, it creates relative content, not only myself, but the learning community that I'm in within the school district, and also my mother and her school district. I've spoken with other teachers, and now there's actual relative content within the resources page where the teachers no longer have to search. They can go to the site and actually find content that is up to date, age appropriate, and can be used right into the classroom. And a learning community. The Shareboard feature of the site creates a learning community for not only students to have their own voice, but for teachers to also share their innovative ideas. The main component of the learning community is that students love pen pals. Anyone who's been in a second grade or third grade class knows that the most exciting time is when those letters come into the classroom. Here, those letters are in the form of emails in the Shareboard, and it's instant interaction between students not only now in the classroom or in the district, but students throughout the United States. So I have two big influencers that have brought me to the point of where I am today. My first biggest influencer is my mother. She's been teaching for over 28 years in William Floyd School District and just recently retired. As it spoke in the story, I've gone in since probably the age of 8 and watched her teach. What I loved about her teaching style was when she was teaching the butterfly unit, she wouldn't just read the literature to the students, but then they would do hands-on activities. They would create the butterflies. She was known as the glitter queen. That's now taken away in the schools, and I want to bring that back, that creativity and that love for learning. My second influencer is Salman Khan. If you have not read his book, One World Schoolhouse, I suggest that you do. He basically started out not even in education, started to tutor his cousins, and then from there, he posted the videos onto YouTube, and millions of students have watched, and now it's a resource for teachers and students to learn not only math and science, but other subjects. And what he did was he had a small dream of just helping people, and it grew into something that really is changing the way that education is working today. So here's IBML today. We're going to take a quick montage of some of the books that are within the site. As we go through the books, you're going to find them on the library of the site. But you'll see how the books are not only what they used to be with paper, they actually come to life. So the first book that we're going to look at is the Mountain Book. And they're just 2 to 3 pages of each book, just to give you an idea exactly what these interactive books entail. And here the students would be learning about the history and the different mountain ranges in America. And these features engage the students, along with the graphics that have been created by myself. The next one is Place Value, which I actually have used in my second grade classroom, and has helped reinforce the actual ones, tens, and hundreds of where the students are. Here you can imagine a whole group and asking a student to come up and create a number, and then asking the students what that number might be. Here you can describe to the students what rearranging is with real-time reinforcement by having them actually see the real-life examples. Here you can look at social studies, the 5 great W's, who, what, where, when, and why, and see which great leaders actually helped form America. There's built-in vocabulary where the students don't even need to leave the book for the glossary. And not only are slideshows, but videos are also embedded where they can get enrichment. Here for pre-K to K, there's a simple counting book, where now they can not only take a character like Trooper, but actually learn to count 1 through 10 with him, where the stories actually come to life. It is my goal to create content for students not only in pre-K to 6, but eventually through grades 12. So for the future, where do I see myself? Well, I see myself as not in the classroom as a teacher, but I see myself as the connector from the big companies to the classroom. So as an example, Pearson creates Envisions Math. I don't want to become Envisions Math. I want to take the introductions that are too difficult for my students to learn in the classroom that Envisions has created and have them use the introduction that IBML books would bring into the classroom. So real learning and engaged learners are in the classroom, and it helps out the teachers as well. So this whole theme is entrepreneurship and redefining it, and I was just reading an article the other day, and they're talking about the different breeds of entrepreneurs. And I feel that I am this breed of entrepreneur, which is an edupreneur. And what an edupreneur is it's someone who changes the face of education. And just like my influencer, Salman Khan, how he has changed the face of education, I hope to one day also change that face of education to bring a love for learning back into the classroom. Thank you. Any questions? No questions? Okay.
I know you mentioned that Salman Khan is one of the, how to say, role models who inspired you for this program.
Yes.
So in the future, are you going to take this similar, how to say, path? You're going to have your own school and own program?
I would eventually love to. I know that Solomon right now is working on creating his own school where it's a flipped classroom where the students are learning online using his program at home, and then in school the teachers are actually getting the real-time enforcement. And I love that idea. I think eventually in the future that might become the future of education, but as of right now, it's just not possible with a lot of districts and a lot of students because you need to create self-motivated learners. My model would be for the programs to still be used within the school and be as an enrichment or a supplement to the lessons that the teachers can use starting today, rather than foreseeing in the future when the school, when the actual system of education changes.
I have a question. You had mentioned that you didn't like the notion of teaching to the test.
Yes.
So when a student goes through a scenario of n number of books, let's say learning numbers, they'll reach a point where you would want to, I would think, qualify. Did that person reach a certain level? How do you do that?
Well, what I mean by teaching to the test, and what happens a lot in the classroom, is teaching to the test is the students take a workbook and they go through the workbook with different questions of that actual test. What I would do in my classroom, and what I have done in my classroom, is take those testing questions and format them in a different way within activity that's either hands-on or interactive with the students. So they're still getting the format of the test and they're still becoming prepared for the test, but my entire basis of teaching for that day is not for the students to pass the test. It's for them to know those basic skills to be able to pass the test.